tear right down, just nothing but parts. So I just told Cody, so I'll see. What I said, you're talking $700 on probably for $750 for a complete one that's ready to go for him. Or else maybe they just got that shaft through there. I don't know how much, I asked, sorry, how much it would be, he said.
That rod be for a couple $100.
I don't think so.
Then have it turn another 50.
$50. He said, you get price when you, how much you do with the knot, it's called the knot, what is that? The hub, okay, that sounds more right, it should be. So I'll look at it again tomorrow, but, no.
We would like to open this meeting with a motion, please. Jim makes the motion. Tim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would like to make one adjustment to the agenda under the supervisor's report. Add an H after G, and it's going to be an APA report. APA report. All right, moving on. We have the minutes from the November 18th meeting are in front of you. So if there's any input in terms of changes or any questions, now is the time to, yes.
Page 2, the 5th paragraph, 8th line. Rather being singular, should be are instead of is. There are water heaters outside. Because each cabin, their water heater is located outside the building.
Okay.
And then page 4, 6th paragraph, 2nd line. Debbie Juror's last name is Jeror.
Where is it, Corey?
The line, the 6th paragraph down where it says already talked about KUVs, did the 2nd line down in, and then Debbie,
Okay, how do you spell it?
Jeror.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you, George. Anybody else?
Yeah, on page 3, under the highway department paragraph, just want to make it clear that Ed Adams never did call me. He said he did, but Ed never did call me.
Okay.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it was on the tape.
And I don't know if this is relevant, but under motion to open the budget hearing, Jill's name was not on the docket. Very
Where are you?
front page. Motion to open the budget hearing.
Yeah.
Anything else? We'll look for a motion in a second to approve these minutes. Tim makes the motion, Jim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passed. Monthly bills and financials for the month of November. Any questions there? You have the general bills, the highway bills, the water district bills, and the sewer district bills that were paid in the month of November. All right, if there's no questions, we'll move on. Next is discussion of the concession payments for 24-25. These are the lease agreements on the north and south river road, and we refer to concessions. So here's a list of the unpaid leases. First of all, everybody in the North River Road's paid up, all right? So we're just talking about the South River Road. And you can see the individuals, the lots, and what's owed. And then we have three customers that are still in arrears as far back as 23, 24.
Now, did we send out certified letters is that our new policy, or we talked about the long-term ones of having a certified letter so we know what made it to them?
Right. At this point, it's just been
Okay.
letters, okay? So I think whatever step we take tonight should be certified,
Okay.
okay?
Well, I think at least the ones for 23, 24, something needs to be done.
If you look carefully, the people who owe 23, 24 are in arrears for 24, 25. So both years for those parties, okay, should be addressed. Okay.
Pardon, Mary?
Because
And for those individuals of those lots too, are there real property and school taxes in arrears as well?
I didn't ask for that. I'm just dealing with what's at the top.
Right, but that's also included. because
Yes,
of the
that
terms of
is
lease.
part of their responsibility.
Right.
Okay,
Because they can't pay their lease until their taxes are paid.
True.
that is correct, that is correct.
I do have a question, Madam. I didn't before I came in, but now bring this up. I heard a rumor that there's somebody up there building, is this legal to do, to build these places and they're using them for Airbnbs? Is that true?
I've heard the same rumor, okay? I have not confirmed that as a fact yet,
I had heard the same rumor.
You did too?
Right. which is against their
I was
lease.
just gonna say that.
That's a violation of the lease agreement. And there might be others who are renting or leasing the property in violation of the lease.
Is there something the town can do?
Well,
If you know,
we write them a letter and tell them we're gonna discontinue the lease.
I'm just, I didn't.
You're in violation of the lease, so then we're gonna terminate it.
Right,
We could terminate it.
thank you.
So how long do they have to pay off their old leases before you do something?
It's up to our discretion. It's up to our discretion. There's no exact formula, okay? Is that clearly, I think there's three parties, okay, that we need to give them a warning per se. But the next step is eviction. And that's the people who owe for 23, 24, all right? There's four different lots for three different leases, okay? And then the same thing occurs in 24, 25. It would be a total package.
When was the deadline for payment?
Bills are due on July 1st, and there are no penalties until August 15th. And then after August 15th, there's a $50 is added. And then after that, is it $5 every month after that?
Correct.
Is added on.
Starting September 1st of that year.
It's $5 a month, okay, after that.
Should we have a standard policy then? For the first year, we just send a letter, the second year, we send a certified letter, third year, if there's no response, by the end of the third year, cancel the lease?
I think we should have established a policy. It's been willy-nilly, actually, but I think we should establish.
What we've always used is the same thing as any lessee has, whether it be at the trailer park, you have basically an eviction process that you have to go through by law. And during COVID, of course, that threw things out of whack for a while there, extended things. But there is actually a true procedure that by New York State law that we have to follow.
Because when we go to the eviction level, okay, the attorney drafts the eviction notice.
And then when it comes to court, the justice wants to see that everything has been ticked off as far as for each of those due dates. And due diligence has been processed.
Do you have a list of that, Corey?
It would be, the best thing would be to contact the town attorney or also the town justice.
But if there's anything in writing saying after so many months of not paying, you know, we send a formal letter, then we send a certified letter or anything like that.
Not that I recall.
We should establish a policy like
Absolutely.
that.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we have to follow the eviction process. But
Right.
I think we should have a policy in place that after
Right.
so many months of being delinquent,
And that law
Right.
dictates that right there.
That way it
Yeah.
doesn't get too far behind.
right?
Mhm.
And we also follow that same policy every year.
Right.
All right, I'll bring that to the table. Next meeting.
Okay.
No, I'll probably ask our attorney if he's got any advice on that, on those steps.
Okay.
Why, I'm gonna send a letter, okay, that if there's no response to these three individuals over 4 things, that you better pay for the next step. It's gonna be probably an eviction. Is everybody in agreement with that?
It's the same people
Right.
every time. so
Yeah.
It's not like they're not aware.
True. And usually what we also did was, after that August deadline, if they hadn't paid up by then, the board was presented, of course, a monthly list of all those who were delinquent. And then a letter was sent to each of those lessees to say, you need to pay up, please, otherwise we're going to proceed with the eviction process. And then from basically the month of September going forward, then that clock starts.
So technically, we'd start at the first year if they got all the way to September.
Absolutely. Yeah, you don't want to let it get out of hand because then
No.
They're gonna get behind
it
several
moves
thousand.
terribly. Yeah,
And if they just
exactly.
give it up,
It used to be horrible.
Oh, yes, there were
Used to
people
have
that wouldn't pay their
pages.
taxes, and so then they had that to pay for, and then they'd wait till their tax return would come back in, and of course they'd spend that up on something else, so then it's just a snowball effect that we unfortunately fell down upon.
So we're just looking at the since 23, 24, where everybody's cut out from before then.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, oh, yes. You've got everything here, it's all, there's nothing any further back, according to the records that we have.
Right.
Well,
And I
23,
believe they're
24, they're, I mean, you figure they're a year and a half
Behind,
behind,
yeah.
so. If you have $5 on every month.
And not only that, their taxes
Right.
are probably
And
not
that's it,
paid
that's it.
Right.
either.
In most cases.
Right.
Okay, it's zero with the tax responsibility. Usually if they can pay their taxes to the county, they can start paying on the lease too.
And also there's the option, they could set up a payment plan as well with the town to accommodate them if they're in financial straits of some sort. So. that's-
We've already extended that,
Right.
okay, that they can make partial payments. And some people have responded, okay, in a positive way with that.
Mhm.
Anything else there?
So these people, for 23, 24, the 4 people, you're going to be sending out a certified letter,
Yes.
and
yes.
within that letter, is it going to say something like, upon receipt of this letter, you have 30 days to respond, or else it'll be turned over to our attorney?
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's a good thought, Jim.
And there are on file examples of that type of letter. I could refer you to that too.
Okay. That's always appreciated, templates. Okay.
Yep.
If there's nothing else, let's move on to, okay, discussion of rates for the campground. So when we increased all the rates, we really didn't establish weekly rates, right? Which gives people, if they go there for a whole week, then they were gonna get a discount. So that was an oversight when we tried to finalize this a month ago, okay? So what we see here for the cabins, and again, they have to sign up for a whole week, which means they're there for 6 nights. Because they have, so they're there for a whole week. So we see for the cabins that are $85 a day, the weekly rate would be $549. And they would get a 10% discount. The $14 or the $2 a day is added on after the discount. So for cabins, all right, that are $85 a day, that's $595. If you give a 10% discount, which is $59, they would pay $535 plus the 14 for the utilities, and that's how we got $549. For the cabins that are $100 a day, 100 times 7 is 700. A 10% discount is $70. So that means they would pay $630 plus the $14 for utilities. And so that's how we came up with the $644. And then the $145 is the Rock Hill cabin times 7. That's $1,015. 10% discount is $101. So they would pay $913 plus the $14 for the utility charge. And that comes up to $927. So that's how those were calculated. Any questions?
Do we know how much these if they were rented every day during the season, how much it would bring in? And if the discount was applied, how much we would be losing?
I didn't.
I'm just curious because then we had a problem. We had problems canceling anyways, money wise. And I just didn't know how much we'd be.
Well, figure how many days the season's May 1st, September 28th.
But
It's 151 days. May 1st, look at the top of the chart there. May 1st to September 28th is 151 days. But in reality, you never have every cabin.
Well, I
filled
understand that,
every
but
day,
I just have to
okay?
go by something.
Yeah.
How much less do we be making with the discount? I guess that's what I'm after. This is all the problems we have down there.
Would encourage people to
Stay.
stay longer if we did do this count.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it
so.
would.
I
I
think
think it
so.
would encourage people to do that.
Because then you don't have to do as much cleaning and turnover and.
That's right. There's less. All you have to do is, they'll take away the garbage if they leave it out. They're disposable. You don't have to go in and clean. Well, on the $85 a day cabin, all right, the discount is 59, okay? So you 85, 59,
If you rented it every day for 151 days, you're $12,835.
you'd lose.
No, that's what the total would be if you rented that one specific cabin every day for 151 days, which the likelihood is slim to none.
Right.
So if you were to take your 549, you'd have to take 151 and divide that by 7, correct?
Right.
So that's 21 and a half weeks. And you're gonna multiply that, by 549. So that's $11,842. So you're basically, like I said, the first number was 12,000, you're basically losing $1,000. That's basically what you're losing, $1,000. But you'd have to rent that every day.
Day. We know that doesn't happen. Right,
There
in
might be-
theory, you give the discount, okay, you're encouraging people to stay longer,
Right.
okay?
To get the discount.
You get the discount,
Mhm.
okay? And, you know, when the reservations come in, you hear things like, we had such a great time, we loved it last year, so we want to stay longer, okay? So the people who are happy are coming back. And if you offer it to them for 7 days and they get a 10% discount, makes it even easier to come back. But that's just one way of looking at it. Jill's got a good point too. They stay longer, okay, you have less cleaning you have to do.
It's less work.
You have less work for our staff.
Another question, I guess, it's not necessarily attached to the charge, but the point of, you say that people are, they like and everything else. Do we have surveys that we give them, or feedback, or forms, or cards, or something?
That's a good question. I know there's a suggestion box in the registration. But is there a form that you can put in there? Probably a good idea to have a form. I don't think there's a form. Was there a form?
There was at one time, back in 2015, at that point.
You bring a cabinet out and have it filled out for the.
Was it a postcard? Was it a letter? Was it?
It's basically a 8.5 by 11, fill out what they thought, what their experience was, pros and cons.
Suggestions.
That is a good idea.
We'll rejuvenate that, okay?
I'm sure that Deer River campsite, they must have one, I'm sure. You could ask to see if they would be willing to share it with you.
I'm sure there's tons of them online,
Yeah.
and just standard.
Mhm.
You just
You can adapt it to your needs.
Why recreate?
That's right.
Big purpose. College thing, not
That's right.
recreate something.
That's right.
Right, for summer to happen.
Make a motion,
Yes, I am.
Jim makes the motion, Jill seconds it, all those in favor? Motion passes to offer the weekly rates for the cabin. Moving on, bus garage contract. I was gonna give you a depressing, okay, that I hadn't heard anything. And as of 5 o'clock today, I hadn't heard anything. And Amy White called me, all right, and said there's a check for over $12,000 for the town from the school district. So what I sent, you saw what I sent in November, asking to enforce the lease, the previous year, there's a clause where we can enforce the lease from the previous year. However, we're only collecting, we're not getting the extra $1,000, we're collecting the old number. So we have a check. I think Amy just brought it in, okay? And so it'll be cashed and deposited. So we still have to finish this. We still don't have a full contract. We still don't have a full lease agreement, but
We got some money.
we got some money, okay? So there's still work to do, and we'll see what happens.
Worst case scenario could be done is to tell them they're in violation of their terms of lease and revoke the lease.
That can be done. That can be done.
That might,
The same clause refers to, but that could happen.
right? That might get some attention up on the hill.
We'll see, okay? See what transpires. I find it very frustrating because is it a half mile between this office and that office? And I've offered to go up there and sit down and talk. And it doesn't happen, which is totally frustrating.
Right.
Why is it such an issue after 60 years? I'm guessing 60 years, but as far as I can remember.
Right, goes way back, okay?
It's not like we don't want parents to look at it.
Is this even getting to the attention of the board?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
It's been brought up at their meeting. It was brought up at the last one. I was
Okay.
one back, I think, not the last one, but the one before it. And I think everybody brings it up now when it hasn't been paid.
And that's some conversations with some board members.
Oh, there at least.
Because shortly after the November meeting, people came to me and said, oh, I heard you're evicting the school district from the bus garage. Okay, so that rumor was flying around, that eviction papers were sent. Okay, and I said, that's not the case. Okay, so we'll continue to try to finalize this agreement and kind of establish something that we've had in the past. Any other questions? So Roger and I met, okay, with the FEMA team on December 2nd. They came here and they went over our paperwork. Additional claims were also mentioned in that meeting, all right? And we have a follow-up phone meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, okay? And they're gonna kind of ask us more questions, I think, and get clarification, okay, on the claims that we have to submit. Roger, is there anything you want to add there on that? Okay. So we're moving forward and we'll meet the deadline for when the claims have to be filled in, which will be, I think, around January 2nd. So we'll turn it all in. And as what I said before, okay, I think they'll agree to many of our claims. However, there's no money in Washington DC at this time. The FEMA funds are totally drained. But they're gonna have to do something because there's many areas throughout the whole country that have had disastrous weather that wreaked havoc on their communities.
Just a correction on that, it's not January 2nd, it's January 31st is our deadline, we have 60 days.
Oh, thank you, Roger. Thank you. Any questions there? On December 10th, we had harassment and discrimination prevention workshops, right? Violence prevention workshops here. They were online programs, and so the entire highway department, as well as Trish and myself, okay, attended these two seminars online. And so we're officially have records to put into our personnel file if these have been done. And there'll be more courses that we have to take, but we're gonna try to be in compliance. Okay? I'll be honest with you, in the past, the town of Waverly was not in compliance with some of these mandatory courses. They have to be done. It's taken a while, the plate's full, but we're moving forward with it.
It is recommended that all elected and town employees take these courses.
Yes, it's,
Summer help, seasonal help,
right,
it is mandated, as well as elected officials. So if you can get a link to Ernie, each and every one of you can have the same thing and records of it, just so we're completely in compliance instead of just halfway, if you desire to.
You have to do it every year through the school. Give it
yeah,
online.
I do believe that's our mandate, it's every year, yeah.
Give annual renewals.
Now, the question is, because you took it for your school district, can you transfer it?
So they said in that seminar that you should not do that. You can, but our policies may be different than the school's policies, so you should take the time and do the same course that we do, follow the same guidelines and policies that we have.
Can't escape.
Well, it's the same exact one.
I keep watching those horrible videos every
I know.
year. It's the same video.
That's try taking Title IX and all that.
The harassment and discrimination prevention was somewhat interesting. But the gentleman who did workplace violence prevention, it was just deadly. Deadly, repetitive and slow, okay? And everybody was well behaved. Any questions there? So, I authorized borrowing money, okay, to meet payroll in the highway department, okay? $18,000, okay, was borrowed, all right? A loan was taken from, okay, the sewer department to make payroll. The issue was with payroll, okay, is all right, we had overtime, some overtime, because the roads needed taken care of. But then we have a clause in our contract where individuals can take buyouts, okay, for health, because they don't take the health that we offer through the contract, okay, they take the buyout. So they don't take the health insurance from the town. And this buyout occurs 4 times a year, and the last and final buyout for the year is the first payroll in December. And that's $9,000 in itself, okay, in that particular. So the plan is that there'll be CHIPS money coming in here the 18th and the 19th of this month, and the loan will be repaid.
Biggest reason that happened, back in August when we submitted our loader payment to CHIPS, we missed the deadline by 2 days, so they held it over, which was $37,000 till December, which put us at a shortfall. That's the reason that took place.
Now, if the CHIPS payment does not come in, on the 18th or 19th, okay? We might have to borrow, okay? Anywhere from $7,000 to $8,000 to meet payroll.
I'll be shocked if it's not there. They're usually prompt and on time.
Right. Well, I'm just warning the board, okay, that if there's a glitch, okay? Then again, whatever's borrowed, okay, will be repaid before the end of the year, providing that the CHIPS money comes in. It's getting a little scary, okay, in the general budget, all right? But this $12,000 that's come from the school, I think we're gonna be okay to make it through the end of December. Any questions?
Need a motion for this.
Well, I got it. Action item E,
Okay.
okay, about the loan.
Okay.
All right, I added the APA report. I've been trying to get a representative from the APA to come and look at all sorts of violations on the South River Road. And these are the memos that I sent to her. Identifying certain problem areas where wetlands are being filled in. Also, our code officer will gladly act as a tour guide, okay, to point out these places. Roger has also offered his services, so we're trying to get her to come. But as you read on, she wants tax maps, okay, which I have sent to her, and she's happy with that. And the bottom line is, she says, and our contact person is at the APA is Carly Woodhouse. And she said, "Good afternoon, thank you for the attached maps. We will start the process of opening enforcement files on the lot that I received from Tricia. In the meantime, desktop research can handle in the office, but wetland visits, site visits will be necessary when the spring rolls around." Okay, so this is where we're at.
So basically, nothing's gonna take place till springtime.
That is correct. So it's called staging, okay, and then, okay, but it sounds like it's eventually gonna happen. Seems like it's taking forever. The last thing is, I've been asked to do a presentation in front of the APA, and I'm gonna do it on Thursday, February 15th. This is gonna be a community spotlight. And they're asking supervisors within the APA to make these presentations. I'm gonna need assistance, okay, to make a PowerPoint. Sir,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you, and from the historian, okay, pictures. So it's gonna be a spotlight on our community. However, I am going to lobby for our needs. And I know the APA might not really be able to help us. However, I'm hoping to link up with other towns that might have needs so that maybe we can lobby together for infrastructure improvements. So that's the strategy that I'm gonna take. So, and of course, I'll take any sort of input I can get from anybody on this, of what I should say. And hopefully we'll have a PowerPoint to show here at a board meeting. So, Tim, Corey,
As soon as you're ready, just tell me and.
That's right.
okay? We gotta get rolling on it. Any questions there? Moving on to water and sewer report. UV system update, all right, the bottom, Aaron Jarvis has given me all sorts of final things, everything is done, okay? Anything that had to go back, that was unnecessary has been returned, okay? We have a final, that project is closed as far as our architects are concerned. I even got a little pamphlet that, it's not a pamphlet, it's a little booklet that summarizes everything. So we can close the book on that, and later on, under action items, I would ask you to make the final payment. So the next part of is service line lead survey and grease sewer plant issues. So the federal government is putting pressure on New York State's Department, okay, of Health that controls our water. So this is the second time we've sent out the survey. And it's only going to people, okay, who purchase that are part of the water district, okay? And there's a survey to fill out your entry pipe that comes in, usually into your cellar or into your trailer. What is it made of? Is it galvanized? Is it lead? Is it plastic? So the first time we sent the survey out, we have about 48 responses. But we have over 200 customers. So it was sent out and it looked like this. Right? And it was sent out a second time. So a trickle of them are starting to come in. So I might come to the point that we might have to start going door to door just to let us know what your entry pipe is like. And if you're not sure, okay, we'll go in and make an observation. So you can fill out the form. The federal government has a goal to remove all lead piping, okay, from any water system. And so that's why we're asked to do it.
What's our deadline on that, or?
I think January 15th, I think I put.
January 4th. January.
January 5th?
That's when we have to turn it into the state,
No, that's when I'm asking people to return it to us.
but what's our state deadline? If we have to
Oh,
have this?
the final deadline is sometime next summer. Okay. Then there was a second note, the second issue is the amount of grease that they're experiencing down in the sewage treatment plant. So there was a second. So if you're not, so that you have a copy of this now, because some of you weren't, if you're not in the water district or the sewer district, you never seen this paperwork. So these are things that we're trying to resolve here within our community. Any questions? On the grease thing, I started out by going to the 4 businesses that cook food. So a letter was sent to the school, a letter was sent to the Quick Stop, a letter was sent, okay, to the Riverside and to the Adult Center. And they've all responded. The Riverside and the Adult Center told me that all grease is packed up and it goes into the garbage. And then the businesses of the school, okay, and the Quick Stop have assured me that their grease traps have been pumped. So that's what we're trying to deal with there. Any questions?
Is there any method, how do you, that, let's say, other towns and cities that are going through this to find out where the grease is coming from? And people are telling us that their grease trap is clean, and they're telling us they did, that doesn't mean it's actually happening.
So one way will be to have a man go down into manholes, okay? And you start at the end of the sewer district, and you check the manhole and see if there's grease, okay, lining in the bottom. And then you work your way closer to the plant. So that's one way to do a process of elimination.
That would be Ernie and Chris doing that job.
Ernie knows how to delegate.
Well, it's all, we've already talked about it, okay? Somebody's going down, and then I'm the rescue guy at the top, okay? In case something goes wrong.
That's a little shock tape reduction.
Pipes aren't good enough here to do that.
How big are the sewer pipes?
Yeah, they're like 8 inch.
Okay, so like that, so you can just see them at the manholes.
Yeah. If you look down in, they're 8 to 12 inch, depending on the amount of houses on that line.
There's nothing like the Shawshank where he wins 3 football fields, okay, so he can get out of the sewer district to get to the creek.
That's
Okay,
a damn long. Yeah.
thank God they did it there, but then they went to a manhole on the street,
Right on the street.
yeah. All right, so the furnace for the water plant, okay, this has become much more complicated. You know, at one time, we were thinking about just going to all propane, but then what we were gonna do with the fuel oil is there that also runs the generator besides the furnace. All right, and then I was thinking, well, maybe we'll just keep the fuel oil for the generator and then just do propane, okay, for the new furnace. But then somebody brought to my attention, that's not a good solution because the generator doesn't run that often. So the fuel oil is gonna stay in the tank and it's just gonna sit there and that could lead to all sorts of problems, okay? And the system seems to be working right now, all right? So we're really gonna hold off and finalize what we're gonna do maybe in the spring.
How old's the generator?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Just wondering what the condition of it is, if we want to just move to propane and when it's time to phase out the generator, phase it out so we're not taking 2 huge payments.
Made that suggestion. If we're gonna go with propane furnace, we should be looking into a propane generator as well.
Exactly. It should be all the same. Because the bottom line, this is gonna pump water out of our wells and into the system if the power goes down. So it's a vital service that has to be maintained.
Could the generator be used as a sewer, as a water, sewer plant?
We got a big generator down there that he cycles once a month.
These are
That's a
big,
big diesel generator.
these are big
The one
generators.
up to the water plant's not very, very large. It's probably a 20K, but the one down at the sewer plant's more like a 50K or 60K like ours here.
So we got a holding action there. Any other questions? All right, Roger.
I don't have much for the board this month. Just maintaining roads, plowing, sanding, trying to keep equipment running. Planning for spring, hoping the snow stops and never comes back. Other than that, Ernie stole all my thunder on, the FEMA and
What's going on up by the Methodist church? There's a lot of water running again.
then we put that crushed stone in there so it would surface again rather than stay out and boil a spring out of the blacktop. And that's on our plan to fix this spring, but
Oh, okay.
we have to get nicer weather in order to
Yeah.
saw cut the road. And I don't want to saw cut any more of it until we can blacktop it. But yeah, it's going off to the shoulder of the road like it did last when it first started, instead of boiling out by the white line and creating a bigger sinkhole. I will stay just like that till spring,
Okay.
unless we get some warm weather and no snow where we can trench it and pipe it to the DI.
We need a good period of time for that.
No snow and no cold weather would be nice.
Probably not.
I don't control Mother Nature.
Yeah. Well, we're in the cycle. It's cold and look at today, 40-degree weather, and I think tomorrow too. So the snow is gonna be almost all gone.
But then it's going down below zero.
Yes. It's gonna plummet for a little bit. All right, action items, okay? So we wanted to, did we do this already? Did we vote? I'm sorry, we voted already. This is to accept the weekly rates, okay, for the cabinets.
Did we do that?
Yes, you did.
We
We
did,
did that.
okay? Sorry. All right, next one, possible approval of the final payment on the UV system, TJ Fiaco, which is $9,785. Jill makes the motion. Tim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Well, it's time to move into another year. So I'm looking at an organizational meeting on Monday, January 6th at 6:30 PM. Is that comfortable for the rest of the board and for Debbie?
How come we're waiting until the 6th and not doing it on the 2nd or the 3rd? Just asking.
Well, you know,
Thursday or Friday?
we usually have meetings on Mondays, so that's the reason why. That's the first Monday in January. And then the second would be Thursday, right?
I don't have to swear anybody in this year, so it's fine to wait.
I would just follow the pattern of Monday, which we always, it's either been a Monday or Tuesday we have meetings. All right, can we have a motion in a second? We can approve that. Tim makes the motion, Cindy seconds it, all those in favor?
Does it have any legal implications if you wait those days? No.
I was just curious why we were waiting, but
I don't think there's any legal ramifications. Okay.
If something were to happen.
I think some boards might make it part of their regular meeting, which could be way later in the month.
Mhm.
Okay? But generally speaking, it's been my experience to kind of do it as early as possible. All right, possible approval to close the town offices on Monday, January 20th. That's Martin Luther King Junior Day. And in the past, when there was a holiday on Monday, we closed for the holiday and then we opened up, okay, office hours the following Thursday. Everybody okay with that? Cindy makes the motion. Jill seconds it. All those in favor? Aye.
Oh, can I make a suggestion that we look at the whole calendar for the whole year and just set it all at once?
That's a good idea. We'll try to do that in the organizational meeting. Look at all the holidays.
That way you don't have to worry about it every month and it's a set schedule.
And I like to remind everyone, okay, we were closed on Christmas Eve. Tuesday. So, a week from tomorrow, okay, the town offices are closed. But that's the only day, for that Christmas. Yeah, obviously. It's gonna be closed. And then Thursday it's closed, okay, so, there's no town offices on Christmas Eve. All right, possible retroactive approval of a loan of $18,000 from the sewer department to the highway department. Tim makes the motion, Cindy seconds it. All those in favor? All right, passes, thank you. All right. Possible approval of a bill from Mayville Enterprises, okay, from last August, October, for $9,973. I brought a copy of the minutes from last February in which we talked about some of the past bills. It kind of starts on the bottom of page 3, it goes page 4, but then when we go to page 5, it deals with, kind of deals with this bill.
Pardon, Mary,
Yes.
could you summarize what that states for the public?
Shanley wrote, Ernie said that he would like to compromise on this one. He said that this came from Robert Mayville himself, that you can do the road over 18-month period, collect the CHIPS money on it. Ernie said he would like to defer this until the CHIPS money comes in. Noel said that he thought, this is Noel Hartson, because he was sitting in the audience. Noel said that he thought that you had to spend that money before you could collect it in chips. Therefore, the bill would have to be paid first before the town could be reimbursed. Such much discussion regarding this, and we will wait until everything else is done on that road, and we will pay for this at that time. Chris said that, and this is Chris Mulverhill, Chris said that we really have to thank the county also, as they sent up an excavator to help out. This was repairs on the Shanley Road. Dave asked Roger if he was going to consume all the money with the 2 road projects. And that's David Peets asked that question to Roger. Is he going to consume all of the money with the 2 road projects that he has stated? Roger said he doesn't even know if there will be enough to do both roads. At this point, he doesn't even know what he will be getting for CHIPS money this year. Dave doesn't see any benefit of waiting to pay this bill. Ernie said that around March 13th, we're going to receive a check for $122,797 from CHIPS. Then, if and when we're going to buy that new truck, that money will be sent in and we will get CHIPS reimbursement for $247,000. So we have to carefully use our CHIPS money for equipment repair and road construction. When we develop our 2025 budget, when it comes to the highway department, we're limited to a 2% increase in taxes. Therefore, we may have to hold a public hearing and ask for more revenue than 2%. So looking at things carefully, we might do that. But that is a decision that we will have to make in September.
Thank you.
So that's what we talked about, okay, back in February of this year.
I think that this bill and this issue needs to be given to our attorney for advice on how it should be paid, because how it came about.
I agree. agree with you, Jimmy. See what our attorney says about it. Have we talked to him about this bill at all?
No, we have not. We have not.
I agree with you.
Jill, Tim?
Yeah, I think it needs to go. Can I just get a clarification, and I apologize, but
Oh, that's okay.
CHIPS money is what?
Consolidated Highway Improvement Fund,
And that comes from
the
federal
state of New
government?
York.
State of New York.
It is specifically designed for road work and potential purchase of equipment.
We get it like
Basically,
once a year, or?
We apply for it 4 times a year, but we get a set amount, whatever they pass as a budget for, and it's divvied up amongst all the townships, states, and counties.
We have to spend the money first
To get reimbursed.
to get reimbursed.
Yes, it's not a given money.
Right.
If we don't spend and apply for the reimbursement, we don't get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't use
Is there
it,
a
you lose
guarantee
it.
we get it if we apply for it?
Pardon me?
Is there any guarantee that we get it if we apply for it?
As long as we meet the criteria, yes.
Right, but there's a limit to how much we can get in a given year too. And
That's why I said it's a set fee.
right, the state sends us, there's different categories. And so there's amounts, so you can't exceed, okay, certain amounts. Your questions are very legitimate, okay, you've got a lot to learn.
There's 4 categories that we get from chips. Basic chips, which is blacktop / equipment. You have EWR, which is extreme weather recovery, same as chips. Then there's pothole repair, okay? That can only be used for blacktop itself. They don't even pay for potholes. So if we go cold patch, they won't pay for it. And the other one, drawing a blank on it, but again, it's for blacktop use only.
Tim? What's your feelings on this?
Well, I think, didn't we as a board, I mean, we're waiting for money back from an original agreement, I don't know what you would call it, agreement, to pay back the difference for the gravel.
Well, we did talk about that here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just to be clear, I did not submit that invoice to CHIPS for the Shanley Road.
So technically, this, what we said here hasn't happened.
Well, the other question is, do you even have the funding to pay for it? Because if we're borrowing 18,000 to pay payroll, you know,
That's, yeah, we're gonna get a sizable chunk, aren't we? Because we paid for the truck,
We borrowed the money from the bank to pay for the truck and submitted that for CHIPS
so we're gonna be reimbursed that.
to pay for the truck.
But we can't spend it all
Can't
because
spend any of that. It's gotta go to pay for the truck.
it's gotta pay for the truck and the payments on it.
so therefore we don't, at this point, we don't even have the money then.
Not really, right?
We'll see what we get with CHIPS money. You know, and there's other issues here, such as, you know, the procurement policy was not followed. All right? And you got an employee, okay, who is purchasing gravel from a business that he's a part owner on, okay? So these are all complicated issues.
That's why I need to go through this.
Yeah.
We got, see what he says. Or she says, whoever we said it.
Yeah, DE.
Because I know certain companies, like even with college, you can't have employees have their side things. So we should really do that.
Right, it should be.
It is illegal to profit from an elected position.
But am I correct that we did vote to pay this? When we originally came up, we went to all our past bills, and then he was accepting a deferral of the payment until CHIPS money came in.
However, as Roger said, okay, that everything on the Shanley Road was never completed. So you couldn't turn in, okay, the chips on it, correct? And that's what we kind of promised here.
Right.
It would have to be finalized. And then the weather messed us up big time. A big storm on August 9th. Or was it August 6th? No, August 9th.
Yeah, if we get FEMA money, could we pay that FEMA money? It went to the road that was destroyed.
Yeah. I do believe when we get FEMA money, okay, we can, the board can decide to spend how, if the money's there, they can decide how to spend it. That's your ultimate power or authority.
I still say go to the lawyer to see what they say, because he could be opening up a huge bag of worms with the whole stuff behind it, you know, personal property. And, I mean, there could be a lot of issues coming up from that.
And also it's best to not set a precedent for the future.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the bottom line is that the town board, all of this was happening, and the town board really had no notification that this was happening.
We didn't know it happened until after the fact.
Right.
Before some of us even started.
Correct.
Right.
Right. This
Actually-
was happening the summer of 2023. If we're all done talking, so we need to table this, all right? So we can refer the issue to the town attorney. I need a motion and a second. Jim makes the motion, Joe seconds it. All those in favor? All right, possible approval of a policy against discrimination and harassment. There's many, many pages to it, but it's a template that our insurance company gives us. There's also forms in the back. If someone has a complaint, there's forms to fill out. So there's paperwork that people have to fill out if they have a complaint. And that's way in the back of the policy. I know it's a massive document, but it's
Standard.
it's standard, and it's from our insurance company, so they're looking out for us. Any questions?
Is it all the employees, is it everybody, all the employees you want these today, copy of this?
After you approve it, they'll get a copy of it.
All right.
And then there's a sign off for them, sheet, that they've read this and they understand it. If you look here in the back, okay, there's a page in here. Acknowledgement of receipt of municipality's policy against discrimination and harassment. So they get a copy, and then they have to submit that they've read it and understand it. Any questions? Motion and a second, please. Cindy makes the motion, Jim seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Policy accepted. Public and board comments.
Do you have a plan in place to flood the skating rink when cold weather hits?
Not exactly, but I think there's a big sheet that you put down underneath, and then I'm gonna ask the fire department to flood it.
Should we get this ready? Because, I mean, sometimes you might only have 2 weeks of skating, sometimes a week. So, should everything be in place so when our 10, 20 day window hits, we can flood it?
I'll get a specific plan together, okay?
Next question. Bobby Mayville was not an elected official. He was an employee of the town. The supervisor approved of that gravel on the Shannon Road. So that was all brought up back in March, or when was it?
It was February.
That was all brought up. Noel was here, Noel was saying that, yeah, that it was approved by, Chad Rivers.
For a couple loads.
For a couple loads.
I don't think it was a couple of loads. I think the supervisor, if I remember, I might be wrong, but if I remember right, that's why it was agreed to pay for this gravel. You're gonna go to the attorney and he's gonna have to get all this straightened out, but, even though the board didn't know, I mean, the board should know what the supervisor does. And for years, the board didn't know what the supervisor was doing, obviously, of all the problems we've had over the number of years. And,
So the question is, what did the supervisor verbally say?
The board agreed to pay Bobby Mayville for this gravel. You remember that, don't you, Tim? The board made that, the motion was made to pay it when the chip money came in. That was the board motion. So, I'm just,
But the road had to be completed. Bobby told me that the road that means, you dig it up, you put the gravel in, and then you finish it, okay, with tarmac. So,
the road has been completed. You're not gonna do any more on that road, are you?
No,
So, and you can't do any more for 10 years, right?
I can patch it.
You can patch it, that's all. So, I'm just brought that up because what took place in February. What is the yearly amount that in buyouts from the health insurance? How many employees?
It's 36, it's right around 36,000, ain't it, or 40,000?
Right. Let me do some quick math, okay? There's two that are taking, that don't take the family plan, okay? So it's 41, approximately, all right? 4,100 times 4, okay? So that's $16,400
Times 2.
times 2. So then that's, okay, that's,
The buyout, the
3234.
buyout of the health insurance is 16,000 a year.
For the family plan.
for the family plan.
And,
And then there's a smaller one for another
and
retiree.
before an employee can take a buyout, he has to show, he or she has to show that they have alternate insurance for the contract. They just can't take the buyout and not have health insurance. It's right in the contract.
Right, right.
So they do have alternate insurance.
The only one I'm not positive on, and Ernie would know that, would be Jim's. Correct?
Yeah.
The Jim's
Brother,
there.
Michelle.
I got it through.
So Jim's doesn't cost you 16,000.
No, okay, it's basically, yeah, two-person, okay.
So how does that work? How does the two, you establish the family, what percentage of the health insurance is the buyout? What percentage?
50%,
50%.
less their percentage they contribute. So depending on the employee, when they were hired, they contribute either 15%, 15.5%, 13.5%. So we deduct their percentage from the 50%, which it states in their contract that they're entitled to a 50% buyout, whatever the healthcare plan was.
Or whatever their copay is, then that's deducted.
Deducted.
From the buyout.
Right.
Okay. I got one last thing, has any of the board visited these camps down there to see, what should be tore down and what should possibly repaired?
I have not.
Because in 2017, when I went down there was 2 camps that should have been tore down then. And I don't think there's been any improvements on
I doubt it.
Yeah, the
So-
old guys, you can stand in one corner of that, and it has a slope that goes down through to the front door. It's terrible. I wouldn't even say it's occupable.
There's 2 of them. At that time, that were,
Right.
you shouldn't be renting to anyone. And,
What's the second one, Mark?
I can't think of it. I had them all. Went down and did a report on each one.
Probably the mountain home.
And I submitted it to the board in 2017.
First one on the right.
You know, it's further down past the Rock Hill. On the left. Yep, after the signatures in the, Gabriel's. Yep,
Okay,
sits down
Oh, is
in,
the one down in.
yeah,
before the newer one there,
yeah, the Everton.
Everton.
Now, I had 2 suggestions for the campsite that we're told is possibly seeing if we can get a food truck to come in there. And then I don't know if there's a kitchen in the end of the arena, but if we had a commercial kitchen, we could have wedding events and stuff like that prepped right there.
It would require the health department to approve that.
There's not a kitchen down there.
No, just the stage, the sound system storage area. Skates usually are in there too.
Just the water and sure,
Mhm.
all the equipment.
That's all I have.
Time set. Sherry, you next? Don? Excuse me.
I'm not trying to stir the pot, but I was waiting till Lawrence got done, but if I remember right at that meeting, the comment was made for the Mayville bill that the services were, even though, it wasn't done properly, it was not his fault, it was the person in charge's fault. And that the comment was made, the services were rendered, so we should pay the bill. And now it looks like it's upturned again. And I just feel that, you know, it wasn't his fault. He did what he was supposed to do, and what he was asked to do, and what he was told to do. And if we have the money, we should, like all those other bills that when you took over, and this was discussed during that whole time frame. All those other bills you took over that were way overdue, the same thing, they gave us the services. I think if I remember right, there were some parts involved or something from a part company. We got the parts, it may not have been the way it was supposed to have been done, but we got the parts, so we should pay the bill. And I feel the same thing with Mayville. Again, I don't want to stir the pot, we said that back then, and I think it should be. I think the board should reconsider, was my opinion.
Thank you, Don.
Mhm.
Corey?
Just as a friendly reminder, for the month of January, once the town justice completes his annual justice court account reports, each one of the board members will need to review those. Jill will have to be brought up to speed. There's a checklist or anything to familiarize her with that. And also the justice is glad to meet with you too, to explain that process. And that has to be done annually. And of course, once that's done, then at the next board meeting in January, Debbie will need to do the resolution for that as well.
Larry's already given me a date paperwork for that.
Yes.
So,
But it
Well,
won't be
we'll get-
until the end of the month.
yeah, when we get done with Sunday 31st.
Right.
We'll move forward on it.
Just to catch her up to speed on the other duties as assigned.
The worst line in any job description.
Judge Frazier keeps excellent books, okay? And they're easy to read, okay?
I pick on him about
And that-
math and
and that-
baseball and do how to do math.
Any board member? All right, I guess we can adjourn, a motion to adjourn. Who makes the motion? Joe seconds it, all those in favor? Aye.
Positive influence rubbed off.
Pardon?
Your positive influence rubbed off.
Okay, it's time,
That's my next.
it's time when I become Santa Claus.
I apologize.
Ernie,
Everyone's invited to the.
Ernie, wait till that shut off.
What?
Wait till that shut off,
This is legal, we should turn it off.
along with the recorder.
He's just wishing us Merry
Oh,
Christmas.
I got that.
There's a-
This is an invitation to everyone for the festival.